What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We had a lot of good football over the weekend. We had divisional round playoffs, a lot of good matchups on AFC and NFC side. So we're going to be covering both AFC and NFC on this action-packed weekend. Kind of starting off with, just a summary is that I think the trend in the NFL is that you need a good head coach, you need a good mobile quarterback, and you need a good defense. A defense that's good enough, I should say that. So I think that was kind of my key takeaways from this weekend. It's not all about the flair. It's about, being able to make good reads, good decisions, and kind of just having that all in one package. So we'll start off with the divisional games on, the AFC Saturday. We had Chiefs and Texans. One of my, more conservative, kind of knew what was going to happen type of games where, Patrick Mahomes against CJ Stroud, the number one seed Chiefs. I think the main thing coming into this game was, are the Chiefs going to be able to come off this streak where, the games haven't really meant as much. They haven't played meaningful football in a couple weeks, and being able to just, put their foot on the Houston Texans' throat and just go into work. I think that they came out, the game started on like a 55-yard return by Kansas City. They got the ball basically in the red zone, and they just got a field goal. It was kind of back and forth, field goal. A lot of special teams mishaps by the Texans. And then in the fourth quarter, Kansas City really turned it on. They made a 15-play drive coming back out of, I think the Texans made like a 10-play drive. And it was really like, okay, are the Chiefs going to, put their magic, their capes on? Travis Kelce had a really good game, and they just diced them up, right? It was just dink and dunk, and then they finally put the nail in the coffin when Patrick Mahomes literally on one knee throws it to Travis Kelce for the touchdown, and from there the defense just took over. The Texans were in hurry up offense. They had to score, and the Chiefs defense is really good, like Karlaftis, Chris Jones. And then the corners, you got McDuffie, who's a beast. You got Reed, who's amazing. They totaled 8 sacks. Like, CJ Stroud must be, feeling it today because they just literally lit it on him. No questions about it. And he was just, after the game, they're like, oh, the refs. And, I think that the refs played a part in 2 calls, but they didn't change the outcome of the game. The Chiefs are still going to win, right? Like, they're, 2-time defending champs for a reason, back to back. And so I think the Texans just came out like some sorry losers, and I think they should have showed more class, but there's a reason they haven't been to a conference championship. They can just go back and say, oh, we won the AFC South. Like, that's great. So that's my take on that. So moving on to the other AFC game, we have the Bills and the Ravens. That was Sunday night in Buffalo. It was, freezing temperatures, a little snowy. It was going to be a great game for sure, and it was going to be a legacy game for either Lamar or Josh Allen. And I think, Lamar had a very shaky first half where he turned the ball over twice. One pick where he didn't understand the coverage that was happening, and the other, he was trying to make a play and just lost the football. And in the first half, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those Lamar playoff games where he just plays like crap and he can't just get it done. And on the other side, Josh Allen just came out very locked in, was, methodical. They took advantage of those turnovers, converting them into points, whether that's field goal or touchdown. And he really just kind of set the tone of, we're on no business. I'm not going to try and force it. I don't have Stephon Diggs to feed to. I have a lot of these young, scattered receivers, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, all these guys where they don't have to force it, right? Like, he can just give and go. Got 3 running backs. So that was the first half. It was like 21-10, and then the second half, I think it was all Ravens. Like, the Bills, like, they had a couple possessions. They had the first possession of the second half, 3 and out. Gave it to Lamar, goes in the field, scores. Him and Derrick Henry were moving, and then they had Bateman as well. Keep in mind, they did not have Zay Flowers, again, their top receiver, in Buffalo, but they were still able to manage. They got the stop, and then they were down 8. And so I was curious to see, this is going to be what everyone talks about on Monday. Are they going to be able to get it done and drive and make that legacy drive for Lamar? Turns out they are. On third down, Lamar chucks it to the end zone and finds his target for the touchdown. And so now they have to go for 2. And then this is when, things get ugly and Mark Andrews drops it. And that was basically the game. But credit to Lamar. Lamar is 1 of 1. He's going to win his 3rd MVP. I think this, notion that Lamar can't play in the playoffs is garbage. Like, he'll eventually get one. Like, he's shown that it doesn't matter. Like, even though he played bad, his team, was still in it at the end. And that's all you can ask for as a playoff quarterback. I think everyone just holds Lamar to a certain standard. 1, because he has 3 MVPs, and 2, because he's just played so poorly in the playoffs, and he doesn't have that signature win where it's like, okay, he's one of those ones. Even though he already is in the regular season, I just think that it's something that he has to prove in the playoffs, because that's what anyone cares. January, February, are you winning games? So, shout out to Lamar. Keep your head up. Like, Mark Andrews, I feel for you. You just got to make those plays, because all the other greats have reliable targets. Like, Brady had Edelman, he had Gronk. Mahomes has Kelsey. You got to rely on Andrews. He's got to come up with those, because, those are career-defining moments. And, as you know in this league, like, you do something one year, nothing is guaranteed the next. So I think that's a good transition into, our second, our first NFC game, the Lions and the Commanders. Now this one, it was a 9.5 spread. I took the spread for the Commanders because I knew that Jaden was going to come to play. Like last week, they were able to come out and win in Tampa, a hot Tampa team that had beaten a lot of good teams over the season. So I knew they were going to come ready. Cliff Kingsbury in a dome. They're going to be fresh. They're going to be ready. They're not fazed by the crowd. They just did it on the road, and they just came out gunslinging. Jaden looking poised. Like, he's definitely the best rookie I've ever seen perform. So I was really impressed. He came out just 2-3 straight drives, no questions asked, got it done. Jared Goff, on the other hand, looked very concerned, looked very out of sorts. He took a big hit on his pick six, had a lot of turnovers. I just think that, he wasn't really prepared. Dan Campbell, a rah-rah guy, didn't necessarily have his team understanding the assignment. Ben Johnson made a lot of trick plays that didn't end up, leading to much besides when Goff had to come out. They had a lot of Jameson Williams throwing the ball. Like, you have Jared Goff just, conduct a normal methodical drive. You don't need all these, trick plays to start up a drive. I think you just go down the field because Washington doesn't have a stout defense. They're very weak in the secondary. And I just think that Jared Goff just was making a lot of inconsiderate decisions for his team that cost him in the end. And they end up giving up 45 points. Like, I know their defense was slack, but you got to find a way to get it done. And so the number one seed goes down. So now, the Commanders are either going to face the Rams or the Eagles. And, the Eagles, I thought that the Rams might be able to win in Philly. I'm not going to lie. But Philly, you got a snow game and you have Saquon Barkley. That just is, lead to success on the fact that LA is traveling from the west to the east and dealing with the snow. I don't think they were ready. They showed a good fight. Saquon ran for almost 200 yards. Jalen Hurts, that's the thing I'm going to question, is can he actually run, can he actually methodically, make drives? He might be able to get past Washington just because their defense isn't that good, but in the Super Bowl, I don't know. He's going to have to play a lot better, but Saquon's a beast. I'm happy for him. He's out of the terrible place in New York. They were treating him like crap over there. and he's showing why you need to pay running backs, because he's just elite. Like, there's his breakaway speed, his ability to jump cut, shift, all that is just, I think, incredible. So they were able to pull it off. The defense made a lot of good stops. Key play was Jalen Carter sacking Matthew Stafford on 3rd and 2. And I thought that they played very well on the defensive side of the ball. Just a lot of turnovers with the snow, and they were able to get the dub, by 6 points. So it was good. They had a lot of good defensive plays, but their special teams, they missed 2 field goal or PATs. And it just, you can't have that when you're playing in these big games, because every point matters, as you know. It's just one of those. So it's going to be Eagles Commanders, NFC East showdown. I'm excited. 2 black quarterbacks going at it for the win for their first Super Bowl. And then you got, Mahomes and Josh Allen. So it'll be interesting. I'll post a recap or a prediction video of what I think is going to happen in these these conference championships. And, we'll go from there. Stay tuned. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe and like the channel, and we'll go from there. So